The purpose of this program right now is to focus on the skill sets required that'll help you get one more that you're currently not getting. Now, when I saw Dave for the first time speak, early 90s, I went right to the podium, I bought everything that he had because I thought the magic pill was actually in closing the sale. And what I found out after about 6 months when I decided to take the cellophane off the material and actually read it, the answers were on page 3, which you see on the very next slide. See, this presentation that you're going to make to the customer has to be more about them than it is about you. And these are the perceptions that exist when you're talking to a customer when they buy. Number one is that they felt that you, the salesperson, was credible. And I want you to think about the things you can do to make yourself credible in the eyes of the customer. Secondly, they felt the salesperson, or they had rapport with the salesperson. Now, before we can move any further, do we know what the definition of rapport is? And it's not friendship. Rapport is 2 words, trust and respect. I trust and I respect that customer, and that customer trusts and they respect me. They also felt that the salesperson had a consideration of their value system. This one took me a little while to figure out as a young salesperson in the business. But what it basically means is that the customer felt that you, me, the salesperson, cared more about solving their problems than we did about earning a commission. Now think about, when is it the easiest to sell? Right after you sold one. Now, you go 4 or 5 deals in a row or leads in a row without making a sale, we get commission breath and we come across the wrong way to the customer. The next was that the product, when it was presented, was unique, and they felt that it was tailored specifically to their needs. They felt the product was superior to all others, the value exceeded the price, it was easy to purchase, and the seller is a knowledgeable specialist. Now, when you analyze your last appointments that you were on and the ones that you sold, I guarantee you these perceptions existed. And when you look at the ones that didn't buy, one or some or all of those perceptions didn't exist. Now, all of us on this call right now on this webinar can easily look into the mirror when we make a sale and take full responsibility for that. But how many of you can look in the mirror and say honestly that it wasn't the lead, that it wasn't the presentation or the price, but it was you? It was our fault that we didn't close that sale. If you had that same lead tonight that you had yesterday that you didn't sell, what would you do differently to sell it? The first part of this is understanding what the science of selling really is and the customer's natural buying process. And what you're going to see is that we want to move these customers from left to right so that we can move them through their natural buying process, and understanding that when we get there. Now, we all know that if we run a 6 o'clock appointment tonight, by about 7:30, 8 o'clock, when we put the price on the table, that customer is only going to say a couple of things. I need to think about it. I need to shop around. I need to get some other estimates, or what do you think, honey? We have all day to prepare for those statements. But guess what? The customer did not take the day off to role play their objections. So we know when we get up in the morning what we're going to face when we put the price on the table. What are you willing to do to prepare for those? Our job simply is to see this like a heads-up display and understand when the customer says, I need to think, shop, or sleep, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Our job is to convert that to objections, get into co-communication or questions with the customer so we can make a sale. And later in this program, we're going to discuss the closing steps and the model to walk you right through that process. But it all begins with the system that you'll see on the very next slide, and it begins with your level of preparation. What are you thinking about before you walk into that customer's house? Your approach coming to that customer's house, what are you listening to? If you're listening to the news or some stupid music, 2 minutes of sustained negativity could affect your central nervous system for over 20 hours. I suggest you put something on there that's going to get you pumped up and motivated to go into that customer's house. Then the step selling system created by Dave Yoho Associates. Now this is not in this workbook, it's in Closing the Sale, but I want you to write them down. There's only 6. Whether you have 10 steps, 15 steps, 8 steps, there's only 6. The very first step to selling is to sell the appointment. The second one is to sell your way into that appointment, and that means there's going to be some resistance. The third one is to sell yourself. Then we're going to sell our company, sell the product, sell the price in that order. When it's done that way, there's only 2 results, Tim. We're going to have no price resistance, in which we'll have a trial close, a close, affirmation, and button up, or we're going to get some resistance. that doesn't mean that the process is over. It means we have to rely on a closing method in order to make this happen. We're going to refer to the sales closing system when we do that, so that the end result of all of this finally is a sale, which gives us the affirmation and then finally the button up.